All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is 5:25 a.m. Saturday, April 5th, 2025. Currently at sea traveling to Aruba from Colombia. Um, so I had a few things happen. Of course, the V2K, they take credit for everything wrong that happens, and they'll say, "Oh, a lot of people don't want you having this. A lot of people are watching you. A lot of people don't want you to be able to figure these things out or do this or that." Or they're like, um, they don't want me to do anything properly, quote unquote. They say, you don't do anything properly, or look at him, he can't do this, do that. But anyway, so I'm just gonna say overall, my vacation is still really good. Um, gang stalking, remote neural stimulation, um, via a wireless sensor network and wireless body area network. That's not gonna stop no matter what part of the world you are. I don't know how deep underground you would have to be in order to not feel um, that energy from this wireless technology being transferred into the body, but overall it's still pretty good. Just want to give y'all like, it is pitch black. I wish I could actually like see the moon, but I don't think the moon is on this side or whatever. But anyway, um, all right. So here's the first incident that happened yesterday morning. Now, like I said, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be based, going to be about. I'm not entirely sure if this is gang stalking related, but it kind of falls in that line, right? So, we had an excursion planned for yesterday morning. The excursion, the excursion description said that we would be, I guess, starting the excursion or leaving for the excursion at 8:45 a.m. But we had to meet at the at a meeting point on the ship at 8:15. Now, like I told you, we have my girlfriend's son with us, and so they have on the cruise like they call it Adventure Ocean. It's basically kind of like a daycare. Well, it's kind of just basically like a child care service, and their normal times is like I think it's like nine. I think it's like 9 to 12. Then like I think it's like three segments for 3 hours each. But if you wanted to do, sorry, last time I heard a weird sound like that, there was a dragonfly sitting right behind me, buzzing behind my. So I was like, "What's that sound?" But anyway, I do find it interesting how certain insects or bugs or birds they'll hitch a ride on the boat They probably like when we get to docks or whatever, they probably flying around the ship trying to find food. Then when the ship pulls up, it's like, oh, they going on, they hanging on for the ride because now they're gonna be in the middle of the ocean. Anyway, so you're supposed to let them know at least like the day before your excursion. So if you needed them to watch your child while you go off the ship, you just let them know, right? And that's what I did. And the best part is, you're gonna like they got cameras. They got cameras throughout the ship, and they have cameras in the child care center. So the night before I went there to pick up the son, and I explained to them, showed them my excursion ticket, showed them the time, said 8:45, but we had to meet at the deck at 8:15. Now, I saw them take down the room number, saw them write down the information, and then they said, okay, you can just bring him, you can bring him, they said you can bring him, what they said, between the 8:15 and 8:45. They don't officially open at 9, right? Now, just putting that out there. They don't officially open at 9, but if you offer a service and say that as long as you give us a heads up, then we can accommodate for you, right? So I said, okay, let's try this. Now here comes the next morning, right? We get up early, breakfast opened at 7. Whatchamacallit, we basically got ready, ate our breakfast, and I took him to go to the child care place. We went up there sometime around 8:10, right? Went up there at 8:10, and they're gonna see it in the security cameras. I was up there early, right? Knocking on a door. We're waiting, nobody's there. They have a little phone to the right of the door. I pick up the phone and I calling, no one's answering. Calling, no one's answering. I'm looking at the time, now it's about 8:20. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, come on, let's go down to guest services. And let's see if we can, let's see if we could find out where these people are, so we can, we gotta go. We gotta go because, they are very prompt. When they say meet at this time, at this place, they mean that because they will leave you. So, went down to guest services, told them about what happened. Then the guest service person had called. They called and then finally got someone on the phone. Guest services woman said someone is there. I think, let me see, 8:20. Then we go back upstairs. And and the door is still locked, right? Now I get it. Not supposedly, but they don't open at 9. But they were already notified that now the V2K, they're like, he's so emotional about everything. Look, I'm playing the long game. I'm not gonna be the angry black man. I said, okay, I'm gonna just collect my evidence. So we get up there, knocking on the door, nobody's answering. Knocking on the door, nobody's answering. Now, in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, is this a gang stalking tactic? Knocking on the door, nobody's answering. Now it's about 8:26, 8:27. I pick up the phone again, calling. Now someone finally picks up on the inside. They're like, "Hello," and I was like, "Yes, I have an early drop off because we have to leave for an early excursion." So the woman says, "Okay, we're here. Just give me 2 minutes, and someone will be there to come and open the door." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm being patient. I'm being patient." It's 8:30, right? So now, finally, someone comes, open the door, and check them in, and I'm like, "All right, we'll be back." Now, run, basically run back to the room to go and grab my things. I see my girlfriend; she wasn't in the room, so I was like, "Dang!" I was hoping she was going to just stay in the room, but she wasn't in there. So once I had got my things, left the room, then went down to the meeting point for where all the excursion people are at. And I didn't see her in there, so I was like, "Dang!" Now I'm like, "Now where is she at?" Now it's about what I think 8:34 or something like that, and I finally see her come, and she's like, "Yeah, I was looking for you. I went back to the room to see if I could find you guys." And I was like, "Well, we couldn't find nobody from Adventure Ocean. Nobody was answering or nobody was in there." She goes, "Oh, well, I found out apparently we were supposed to be here at 8:15, so the excursion people, they already left." So in my mind, when I was up there and I realized that door was locked and nobody was answering, I had already made the emotionally intelligent decision to not be upset because this is out of my control. Remember, in a lot of videos, I always tell you, try not to stress yourself over things that's outside of your control. That was one of those moments. And I thought to myself, I was like, "Yo, I did my part. I went up there, showed them my excursion ticket, told them what time that we needed to be out." They failed on their part. So now we missed our own excursion, the one I already paid for, and then now my girlfriend tells me, she said, "Well, they said that we can pick from another excursion that's available," right? So I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." Now, the excursions that they have, it was like 2 excursions still left that haven't left the ship yet, like two groups that haven't left yet. So now the ones that they do have available, it wasn't the same price. I had to pay more money, right? Now I'm thinking to myself, I gotta pay more money for something I didn't originally want because of something that wasn't my fault, and it wasn't and right. I was like I think how much I paid. I think it was like I think I paid like maybe 109 or 110 or something like that for the original excursion, just for the 2 of us. So it's like two. It was like I think it was like two. Yeah, like 210 together or something like that. And now they're gonna offer us this different excursion, cooking class, a cooking class and a tour of Colombia. But it was about it was $100 more, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, hold up. Now in my mind, I was like, I don't want to be mad, because there's already a lot of, suppressed things based, because of gang stuff and all that. People don't realize it takes a lot of strength to maintain the type of peace that I have. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, wait, you telling me they made me late for an excursion that I paid for already? And I did my part with informing them that I gotta come early, bring the child early, so then we could be able to make it to our meeting point to leave, to leave at the time we were supposed to be there. But then they fail on their part, right? And now I gotta pay an extra $200. Basically, it was an extra. The difference was like $109 for each person, right? So I'm like, wait, I gotta pay more money for something that they did, and then the excursion guest service person, they're gonna tell me, oh, well, we can offer you a 15% discount, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this that bullshit because I did my part. And I have to pay more money, right? Now, of course, the V2K, they're like, Chris, you a bitch ass nigga. You da-da-da-da. Because I'm not throwing a fit. I'm not going around, trying to like demand a whole bunch of stuff. At this point, I'm just like, well, I want to do an excursion in Colombia. But I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna come back to this situation because when I come back, I'm gonna have all my evidence. I'm gonna have all my evidence, and I'm gonna tell them check the cameras, check the timestamp on the cameras. I'm gonna have all my evidence. So I'm like, okay, whatever, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have the proof that I was there. Timestamp on the camera is going to show I was there, and then I also have receipt for the ticket that I paid for, and then the difference of what they're claiming that will be the new price for the new experience. So I was like, regardless, I'm going to take all of this together, and they're going to give me something for it because that was an inconvenience that I did not have to go through. Right? I'm not going to be mad about having a child with me who didn't want to go out into the sun for 5-6 hours. I'm not going to be mad about that. And a lot of people tend not to want to really bring their children, off the boat in every place they go. Why? Because, well, kids have a tendency to, really complain about the heat a lot. Oh, it's too hot, or it's too much walking, whatever. So we wanted to give them a break. They have a service, and we wanted to use the service, but then they failed on their part, and then offer for me to pay more money just so that I can be able to do something that I didn't even want to do that excursion, but it's just like, it's wild how that played out, right? And regardless, I'm gonna make sure I tag Royal Caribbean in this because this is wild. I have emotionally kind of like pieced myself with the situation because all I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna talk to them tomorrow morning or this morning, and I'm gonna explain to them what happened, right? But if they don't do anything, at least offer me some onboard credit or something. Hell, I probably shouldn't. I shouldn't have to have paid extra for nothing because that was on guest services. Actually, when I spoke to a woman earlier, they tried to put it off. They was like, "Oh, you got to talk to the shore excursion people about the refunds and stuff like that." Guest services, they're like, they only deal with things dealing with the ship or the rooms and stuff like that. So she's going to try to pass the blame off to just the shore excursion department. So I'm like, okay, y'all going to play this game. Okay. So at some point, I'm going to go ahead and write a nice detailed letter and a review about what occurred, because I mean it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Anyway, yeah, we still did the other excursion, and I mean it still turned out pretty okay. We did a cooking class. Cooking class was a nice experience. Got to make, I can't even remember how to pronounce it in Spanish, but we basically had made like some arepas. I forgot what it was called, but it was where you took some fish and you wrapped it in plantain leaves, and then they steamed it in a pot with seasonings and whatnot. Then we made some like boiled plantains in this essence flavoring sauce, along with making a type of a custard, like a frozen custard, And then after we did the cooking class, we had did a tour, right? Now the other thing is, my mom, my mom, and then a couple of other people I've heard mention something about their concerns about the U.S. warning Americans about traveling to Colombia because there's a lot of stuff going on. Me, I'm like, I wasn't even trying to let none of that phase me, because I'm like, yo, when you have come to understand your life experience when it comes to gang stalking and stuff, at this point you're not even really worried about so much stuff. Like when you get to my level of understanding all this, you're not even worried about most of this stuff, because this is past me at this point. I'm not worried about getting kidnapped, robbed, none of that, because I'm like, at the end of the day, they probably orchestrated all of it. So best thing I could do is just be aware, stay aware, and just trying to enjoy the life, whatever of this life experience that I can, But it's interesting. So I don't know, like how I've been learning how to handle myself in these situations is, I hate the idea of saying something like, I had to make myself numb, like emotionally numb, or turn off certain things in my mind just so that I could be able to stay alert and aware. Now, like I told you, my girl, she doesn't have B2K, so she doesn't have people trying to auditorily or verbally program certain things in her mind. Like, so whatever they're probably doing to her, it's mostly like frequencies and just tuning of emotional energies, or manipulating her memory. Then I believe there's like, we both kind of feel like that they mess with her menstrual cycle. I mean, it's a wireless body area network and digital twin technology. So, they mess with her in different ways. So I basically had to just keep her close, because I could tell that there were moments where she was probably feeling overwhelmed, whether it was from the experience of having so many people walk up on us, and they're all like, "Oh, would you like to buy this? Oh, would you want to buy this?" this 3 for 5, da, da, da. It's a whole bunch of people just walking up on us, all shoving things in our face. And it's like, I get it because I traveled the world a few times. I mean, I traveled in different places and I completely understand. Tourism is most of these countries like main money making thing. And then when they get US dollars, that US dollar actually stretches quite a bit, in their country. So it's like, I get it, and it's funny because now the V2K, they're talking as if like, they're like, oh, he's mad disrespectful to other people's cultures, or he's mad. No, it's not disrespectful. It's just acknowledging the reality. We're talking about the reality. Reality is, yeah, a lot of people don't like a whole bunch of people shoving stuff in their face. And then, I mean, me coming from New York City, I deal with that, and we deal with that all the time. So it's like, yeah, I kind of already have it in my mind. Like, I have it, like, it's a part of my life experience of learning how to put on a specific face. I mean, no, I don't. You don't be mean about it, because they're just trying to make a living. But it's like, look, I ain't got it. And then but they it's like they keep trying. You tell them no about like 2-3 times, and you're trying to be nice because you're in their country. But my girl, she was feeling like really, really bad, and because she feels like she wants to help everybody, and I feel the same way too. But you know what? I don't know. I think gang stalking is also kind of like making me. I don't know. Because they tune my emotions so much, it's like I'm learning how to almost become like a level of numbness where I can still be polite, but at some point, I have to walk away, because if I don't walk away, I'm going to respond to you in a way that's going to come off very strong. So I'm politely telling you no 2 or 3 times, and then if you one thing I learned too, and I noticed this with one particular person. This one person walked up to me with like all these like keychains and stuff. There's like, would you like to buy? And he stood there for like 10 seconds, still trying to like show me the stuff. And I made the mistake of actually looking, and I didn't even mean to look at the items. I was trying to ignore them. It's like, you don't want to ignore a person, but it's like I was trying to ignore them because so they could walk away. But I'm like, I made the mistake of actually looking at what they had, and then next thing you know, they was like, oh, they want to buy something, or they looking to buy something. Let me show them everything that I have. And I was like, damn. And then it was bad because there was this one woman that like literally like followed our group, and she just kept like, I don't know, my girl, she's very, very passive, and sensitive. So this one woman kept like, she was literally following her and trying to see if she could sell her these magnets and all this stuff and a fan. Then like we would stop to listen to the tour guide, tell us some things about the place or whatever. And then, you got all the souvenir people, they're like fanning you while you're I'm like, nah, I don't need you to fan me. Just, it's like, it's like no disrespect, but I don't want anything. I'm sorry. I didn't bring much cash with me, and the only place you could now the V2K, they're like, they're saying he's a scary ass nigga. It's funny how I'm like several miles away from New York, and I can still hear these Bronx accents. Scary ass nigga. But Now they're like, oh, he talking shit about the Bronx. He don't even realize people plotting on him. They plotting on everybody. Only difference is the people they plotting on probably just don't know who they are and where they are, you know. And it's wild because, you know, I've been posting pictures and like some videos of like where I'm at, in the world or whatnot, you know. And I know that like people who've known me for years, like a lot of them are still friends with me on Facebook. I know some people basically deleted me because, I don't know, maybe I'm posting too much gang stalking and stuff, or I'm posting too much stuff about secret society or ritual abuse and stuff like that. So some people actually deleted me. And then it's like, when I started posting stuff about like the vacation and whatnot, it kind of made me feel a type of way, because when I started posting stuff about the vacation and whatnot, it was like a lot of people was like liking or hearting, you know, loving, you know, the heart, you know, thing, or, you know, people was like, oh, it's well deserved, have a great time, da da da. And I'm like, thank you, but it's like something in my spirit still feels so disappointed with everybody, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, I feel so spiritually disrespected, because I'm like, these are people that have known me for years, right? But then as soon as I start talking about gang stalking and targeting individuals and stuff like that, and I'm posting videos where whistleblowers and former, you know, like former intelligence agents and doctors and other, you know, like engineers and stuff like that, who are talking about the very technology that's being used against everyone. People want to look, and people, when I post about that, people want to say, oh, maybe you should get psychological help. No. It'll be one thing if I was just saying things and I wasn't posting proof about the experience. It'll be one thing if I was just talking about like hearing voices, but I wasn't saying that it was technology. It'll be one thing if it was something along that line. But it's heartbreaking because it's like, yo, I'm showing you the proof of this existence, but you're messing with my mental health by trying to tell me that I'm crazy. And I'm like, I know I'm not crazy, but the fact that you're denying the fact that I'm giving you evidence and proof that this exists, and you're gonna tell me that I need psychological help, that shit is heartbreaking. That makes me not want to associate with nobody that I knew in the past anymore. Because it's like you're helping the people that started all this against me almost 5 years ago. Like, I didn't get V2K until September, October of 2020. Now the V2K, they're like, Chris, you don't even realize that so many people have always been watching you, or so many people been doing this, or so many people already know, but a lot of people still don't know. And then the V2K, they try to make it seem like they're trying to help me by saying you're not supposed to talk about it, or you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to just, you know, like you were supposed to just not do anything. You're supposed to not say anything. You're supposed to just take it. And I'm like, that sounds like a bitch. I'm like, what you mean? Because I'm like, I grew up in New York City, so I'm like, if it's somebody in front of you, like I grew up where if someone is doing something to you, and especially if they're like in front of you, they're tangible, like you could touch them, you're supposed to defend yourself. You're supposed to. But they trying to make it sound like, oh, this is a secret experiment, or this is secret society. You can't do anything. You can't do nothing. You can't help nobody. You can't save nobody. But I'm like, I'm not receiving that bullshit. I'm not internalizing that. And they're like, oh, you have you're like victimizing people. Sorry, I wanted to see. Is that the moon or is that? Oh, yeah, I think that's the moon. I think it is. No, that's not the moon. I don't know what that is. I thought it was the moon, but I don't think that's the moon because that's way too small, way too far. Wow, that's interesting. But anyway, so so I'm like, no, I'm not victimizing nobody. What I'm doing is I'm making people aware. Like I always say, one of the first steps on to learning how to defend yourself is to become aware of the situation or becoming aware of what's happening or what's being is awareness, right? Just like when it comes to, just like when it comes to, I don't know, sex education, you become aware, right? You have to be taught or be made aware of certain things. Just like when you're traveling, you want to do research so you become aware of the situation of what's going on in that country or wherever you're going. Awareness is key, right? And now we already know that this whole ritual abuse, gang stalking stuff has been around for we might as well just say for centuries, because we already know at the root of it all, it's very satanic, it's demonic, and it's extremely Luciferian and Ahrimanic because it deals a lot with the materialism and spiritual energy, emotional energy, like basically your your energetic life force, right? So it's like awareness, right? But they're trying to make me feel like it's like they're trying to change what I already know is right, you know. And this is one of those things where they say, you know what, we're in that time period. Like we're in a timeline where whatever is good is being flipped into being seen as something that's bad, and whatever is bad is being flipped into being seen as something good. I'm not contributing to that mess. I'm not contributing to that. And then in order for me to survive on this earth, I gotta target somebody else. That's probably why they wanted to force me to become a police officer, so then they could use me under the guise of having a badge and a gun to probably harass somebody else who's a TI or something, you know, and then they would probably, you know, feed me some bad intel or some false intel about someone, and next thing you know, I would be doing the same thing to somebody who doesn't deserve it, all because I don't want something to happen to me or my family. I'm like, no, that's why the system is still going, because everybody else is giving in to the spirit of fear. Everybody else is giving into the spirit of fear. And there's but so little people who have the moral testitude or the testicular fortitude to be able to say, no, I'm not going to harm somebody else just to save my own life, and that person has not done anything wrong to me. And then it's that whole part where someone is spreading bad intel about someone, and then you don't even know if the intel you're getting is true or not. Someone is telling you, oh, don't trust that person steals. But you ain't never experienced this person steal from you. How do you go on to think like that? Like, how do you live your life just only believing like believing everything that somebody tells you. My mother raised me to never trust anything that somebody tells you about somebody. You only trust what you experience. That's the only thing you're supposed to trust. You trust what you experience. Because if you experience it, then that is your way of confirming that it happened and that it exists. It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. So it's like I feel a type of way. I feel a type of way. Like I really feel a type of way. And every time I post something on Facebook and I see people seeming like they're happy for me and whatnot, but I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm happy that I'm on vacation too, but I just feel a type of way that like there's really no one out there that's saying, Chris, I don't truly understand what you're going through, but I just want you to know that you have support from me. You like I want you to know that even though I don't know what you're going through, you have support from me. If you ever need to, I don't know, if you ever want to talk or you just ever want to just whatever, you know. But no one is doing that. Everyone kind of kept their distance. Everyone's keeping their distance, and then when I do something that seems fun or whatever, that's when everybody jump in and they're like, "Oh, we're so happy for you," da da da, and I'm just like, okay. So damn. Now I kind of feel like if I like now I kind of actually feel like I really almost don't care if I live or die anymore, because why? I feel like once I die, ain't nobody really gonna care. I feel like once I die, ain't nobody really gonna care. So at this point in my life, I'm realizing, you know what? I'm just going to do my best to. I'm just gonna do my best to maintain my peace. God did not give me the spirit of fear, but love, power, and sound mind. And I'm riding with that till the day I take my last breath. God got me on this earth still for a reason. I'm still maintaining my peace. And you know what? There's also like there's a group on Facebook called Targeted Connections HQ. I think. I think it's called Targeted Connections HQ, something like that. And a TI created where he or she or they find all these different news stories and articles of different people who probably are not aware of the technology, but they were, I guess, so susceptible to the technology and what it was doing to them that they actually committed crimes, and that they actually fell for, like they didn't know that they were fighting an external energy source stimulating their behavior, stimulating their emotions, stimulating their cognitive functioning. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember that very first night that I got V2K, I was this close. I was close. Like I was literally like, oh, not available while using. Oh, I was trying to put my flash back on, but all of a sudden I can't use the flash. But so it's like I was literally like this close. I'm telling you, I was this close. I was this close to probably end up maybe becoming one of those people or something, because I didn't know. I didn't know what was happening. I just knew I was hearing somebody say they was going to shoot me in my sleep. And then I lived alone in the apartment by myself in a neighborhood that I knew nothing about. I was that close. I was that close to being one of those news articles. I was that close to being one of those news stories. But for the love of God, yo, sometimes I could cry thinking about it, and I'm like, yo, peace kept me still. God's love kept me still because I was like, something is not right. I was like, because I feel like something is trying to provoke me to do something, but I don't see a reason why I should act this way. And I think that's where emotional intelligence come to play, because like emotional intelligence, spiritual discernment, so many things came into play. And that's why I'm glad at one point that same night when the V2K, they messed themselves up by allowing the women on the V2K to speak, because once they came in and I realized, wait a minute, it's not like demons or evil spirits or whatever. I mean, well, at the base of it, depending on which energy density that you want to look at, they are being used by spirits. Yeah, we could say that, but it's people using technology. But I didn't find that out until about maybe like a week, maybe 5 days after realizing going to the hospital was not going to help, because all that did was expose the whole matrix to me in total. Because I still I can't make it up. I can't make it up how when I went to that hospital and I told them about what I was experiencing, literally everyone in the emergency room at Brookdale Hospital stopped speaking, stopped moving, and they all turned their heads and looked at me. As soon as I said I was hearing voices, they all stopped what they were doing, turned and looked at me. I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, what the hell just happened? That's when I realized something is up, and hospitals are not going to help you. Hospitals are not going to help you. You can't trust nobody that's a part of the what they call it, the medical industrial complex or the military industrial complex. You can't trust people who are a part of the system. You can't trust them, because it's either one, they don't know, or two, they know and they have to keep you subdued. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was one hell of an experience. One hell of an experience. Now, the other thing I'm thinking to myself too is the V2K, I don't know how much of their transmission is actually a live feed, or like a live feed of them actually speaking to me directly, or if it's like they programmed, like they literally have digital twin copies of themselves to the T. So if someone is if someone in person is a true asshole, right? They literally have an exact copy of themselves in a virtual augmented reality, whatever. It's an actual copy of themselves that's the exact asshole that they are, right? So I don't know a lot of times if it's an AI that's always talking to me, or if they maybe interchangeably, speak, to me, like maybe they switch the chat bot off and then it's them in real life, or if it's just AI, or if it's actually them really connected to me and maybe like the way like I'm physically sitting here talking, I don't think it works like that, not necessarily, because remember, when they're listening to your thoughts, they're watching your brain waves. So they're decoding the brain waves of your sub vocal, your sub voice, or something like that. It's like when you read. It's like when you read in your mind. It's like your voice. It's like when you read. When you're reading, you're actually hearing your voice read the words that you're or at least say the words that you're reading. Like when you're reading, you have like a voice in your mind that's like you have like your I don't know. It's kind of weird to say, but it's like you have your mind's voice. Your mind's voice is the same voice as your vocal voice, right? But you don't have to move your mouth in order to hear yourself, say words and stuff. Like when you're thinking in your mind, you don't have to move your mouth to hear your own voice in your head. So it's like what they did was, I think with this technology is basically like they connected everyone's minds, right? They connected everyone's minds, and then they can basically jump in and tune into somebody else's mind or their wireless body area network. They could tune into somebody else's wireless body area network and then speak into someone else's mind using their own mind's voice. So like you could be literally sitting. The funny thing is, for some people who have V2K, you could literally be living right next door, or you could be on public transportation and the V2K perp is probably sitting right in front of you, but you don't see their mouth moving, but you hear them speaking, right? But they sitting right in front of you, not saying nothing. They probably got headphones on, listening to music, but you have no idea that the person who probably, some of us who probably don't know who our perps are, but like if you don't have any idea who your perp is, it's like they literally could be sitting right in front of you, mouth sitting still, got headphones on, and they probably not even looking in your direction, but they could literally be talking to you. They could literally be talking to you using the synthetic telepathy. So anyway, let's see, the sun's gonna come up on that side. But anyway, so yeah. So that's that part. I don't know. I was woken up this morning because, I think I think I was woken up because I felt too much energy being transferred into my body and in my brain because, so I'm laying in the bed and I feel all this pulsing. It wasn't like painful. It's just like I could feel the pressure. I could feel the pressure of electricity. It's like I'm like, I don't know. So it's like all right, let's say, I don't know. Let's say this part is like, I don't know. Let's just say this area right here is like my head, right? Let's say this area is my head. All I could feel is like a wave, like it's a small, like a very fine wave, and it's like pressing, like almost as if like someone had a power drill, and they were like trying to drill a hole through my skull, and then like it's heating up the tissue of my brain cells or something like that. And when I pinched it, and I remember I tell you, when you really want to try to feel or detect, like if you want to try to trace where the energy waves are coming from, I like to take my thumb and index finger and I pinch it, right? I'll pinch it, and then I could feel the wave. I could feel the energy wave vibrating in between my thumb and index finger. And then when I followed it, it was coming from both, my girlfriend's head, because she has the W band, she has her W band, and somebody's controlling her W band. And then I could also feel it coming from her son. I felt two separate waves. One coming from her body because she was closest to me, and then I felt one that was a little bit more faint, but it felt like it was coming from a distance, but it was coming from the direction of where her son was sleeping. So I was like, oh, so they're basically extracting energy from both of their bodies, and then they're using it to heat up the tissue in my body. So it's messed up, but it's sad because it's like I love them both. But I do have it in my mind every once in a while that I'm like, yo, I might end up getting killed by their energy and they can't even control it. I might end up getting killed by the energy of something that they can't control, and I've accepted that, But I also understand that God has a say so on when we die. There's a lot of people that face life and death situations, but to actually die, God has to say so. God has to grant the permission for you to die. It's like God has to grant the permission for you to die. There's a lot of people who get shot up a bunch of times or stabbed or fall from tall buildings or tall places, and they get seriously injured, but they don't die. So that's why I keep conditioning myself to remember not to fear death, because if anything, you got to remember, when you die, you're released from your physical body. This body is only temporary. 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 He who loveth his life loseth it. And I have been training myself to acknowledge the strength and power in that statement. Because anyone who is willing to basically, like, if you love your life so much that if someone threatened your life and told you, if you don't do this, then we're going to take your life. It's like, well, I'm not going to corrupt my own soul because I'm afraid to lose this body. My soul is going to live longer than this body. Why would I corrupt my soul, which is interdimensional? Your energy body, your soul, your spiritual body is interdimensional. Why would I corrupt that body which lives longer than this body? Why would I corrupt that mind? Why would I corrupt that energy? Why would I corrupt my peace, corrupt my love, corrupt my morality, my spiritual morality? Why would I corrupt that just so I can live a few years in this body longer? And it's crazy how often they always say in the V2K, that's a bitch ass nigga, that's a bitch ass nigga, that's a bitch ass nigga. I'm like, do you know how many traps there are in New York City that's set up to put people in jail, prison, get you caught up in gang stuff, or get you caught up in committing crimes? Or do you know how many traps there are set up in New York City just to corrupt people's souls? And I'm like, I made it to 36 and I ain't never been arrested. I made it to 36 years old and I ain't never wore handcuffs. Now I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody, but I'm just saying God has been with me. Some people will say, oh, that's because you a scary ass nigga, you don't defend nobody. No, maybe because my spiritual discernment my spiritual discernment and my my morals and my ethics, and I don't know, it kept me. Like God has been keeping me from certain things. And there are moments and I'll tell you, there are moments in my life where I knew I probably should have been arrested, especially like this one time. This one time where I almost got hit by a train because I was walking on the train tracks. I should have got arrested that night. But the cop, I don't know. He looked at me, asked me a few questions, and he let me go. Now, the V2K, they're like, oh, that's because you got special privileges. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about no special privileges because I ain't even know nothing about secret society before 2020. Like, yeah, you hear about Illuminati, and I used to go to, all the conspiracy theory websites and stuff like that. But most of them sites at the time, most of them sites was not. I didn't even really know anything about targeted individuals and stuff like that before 2020. But they always like, oh, you have no idea. You got special privileges, and I'm like, well, I was never informed of any special privileges. I don't know anything about special privileges. Then I'm thinking to myself, well, it couldn't have been that special because my mom, she's been being targeted for most of her life. And I'm like, my dad, well, I don't think he was targeted or anything like that. But he lived to be about 82 years old, and then I believe he died of like colon cancer or something like that. So I don't know what they're talking about when they mention these special privileges. But I don't know. They try to make it seem like I'm only living because of some type of agreement or something that was made that I don't know about. So I don't know. And I could safely plead ignorance because I don't know. They're saying I have special privileges. I have no idea what they are. I have no idea what they're talking about. They're like, the reason why you're still alive is because you got special privileges. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Thank God for the special privileges. I guess. I don't know. Because I'm not into secrecy. I don't even have secrets myself. I just have information that nobody asked me about. And most of the time, a lot of times when I share things about myself to people, some people would actually think that that I don't know, some people say I share too much, and it's like, nah, I don't think I share too much. I have already accepted my past. And I don't give my past the same amount of energy that my present should have, because I try not to live in the past. And I try not to put too much energy thinking or planning for the future. I try to focus on the present. All of my energy is in the present. That's why a lot of times, they say, oh, Chris, all Chris does is spend money. I remember there were times where I used to be really good with saving money. But you know what I realized too? I only really spend money, or I only really drink, or I only really smoke or consume cannabis if I'm dealing with a lot of stress. I'm a stressful spender. Is that a crime? I'm a stressful drinker. Is that a crime? I consume cannabis when I'm stressed. Is that a crime? No, it's not a crime. That's life. That's It's being human. It's being human. You know? And then it's like, and then they're like, oh, he got no self-control. And I'm like, well, it definitely is a lot harder to control myself now that there's an extra energy source stimulating my brain in the cells of my body to try to influence my behavior and my cognition. Yeah, I have even more stress. So I might spend even more than I used to do in the past because I'm being remotely neural stimulated by some people who are too afraid to fight the fight that they should have been fighting. So I see somebody smoking a cigarette. Anyway, I don't know. But I'm still going to enjoy this life, whatever I can of it. And I'm not going to be quiet about what's happening because it's not like it's just happening to a few people in the United States, or it's not like it's just happening to a few people around the world. It's a global wireless sensor network mind control system. It's a global wireless sensor network mind control system, and it's powered by AI. So they took my tooth away. I don't even smile the same no more because of all the radiation and stuff is deteriorating my teeth. I don't even smile the same no more. But I'm still smiling though. Because if I don't, they're winning. Anyway, emotional intelligence, awareness, spiritual discernment. You gotta learn everything that you can about what's going on. You gotta make yourself aware. You can't spend too much energy and time focusing on how much pain you're going through. Take the energy you would use to complain and be in sorrow about your pain and suffering. Take that same energy and put it towards looking for a solution. That's where your strength is. Look, I'm telling you. Don't try to rely so heavily on yourself. Because there's so many things that's outside of our control that when you try your best, when you try and use so much energy to try to control things that's outside of you and outside of your control, you're taking energy from yourself. You're taking energy from yourself. The best thing you can do is focus on how you react to things. Focus on how you react to things and focus on how you can transmute energy. It was like I smell a cigarette, but I don't see nobody out there. Anyway, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.